Well, welcome to Sweden. Yes, we're still in Scandinavia for round 5 of the 2011 European Rallycross Championship. One of the most picturesque places in the world, and obviously one of the proudest rallycross nations in the world as well. That is Sweden. We're in Stordal in Norway just 1 week ago. This weekend, the holiest circuit, the Magic Weekend, in the beautiful Swedish countryside. This is the local guy. And one of the Swedes that makes the full European tour, that's Andreas Eriksson, obviously from Sweden. Team car with Tanner Faust again for 2011. And Andreas with his very unique tongue-out driving style. Let's hear from him right now.
We were really fast when it was dry, and when it gets wet we did a lot of changes, and we haven't done so much wet race this year, so we actually did a little too much changes, so the car was not good enough on the wet.
And how is it here to drive in front of tens of thousands of your spectators that coming, especially for the Swedish guys?
When we did a free practice, it was good race. You want to give them some extra, but I hope it dries up so people get value for the money.
Well, they always give value for money, rallycross drivers. Absolutely tooth and nail on every single lap of every single race. And one of those drivers is Andreas Eriksson here in Sweden as well. That's him out there in practice and looking for a great weekend at his home race. Another guy on the home trail this weekend in a brand new Citroen DS3. He's just become a team owner so far this year for Timo Timojanov and Liam Duran. That's Kenneth Hansen, but he's got so much experience in rallycross, in European rallycross particularly. And this brand new car, great news for the sport, and it's so great to see Kenneth Hansen back driving competitively once again. The car is brand spanking new and shiny. Let's see what he thinks about this weekend.
We managed to come here with a new car. It was a hard work to get it finished, and we had very little testing before. But it has been a project that we have worked very hard with, and the car should normally work quite good out of the box. I'm still not used to the car because it's very different compared with the C-Force, but it feels like it has a great potential. But I need to be more confident and to drive more kilometers in it first. This is the next year's car, and I want to be here to test it and to work, and during the rest of the year to continue testing and to come back 2012 with this car in the team.
Well, that is great news that he's rejoining the Rallycross Tour. He never really left, obviously. He runs the 2 Citroen C4s for Liam and for the Russian team, Timojanov as well. They're having great success so far this year. Timo Timojanov with the C4 is actually in the points lead in the Supercars at the moment. But one man who finished last year in the points lead, most importantly for him, Sverre Isaksson from Norway in the first stop focus, back on form from last weekend in Stordal in Norway. They found all the bugs in the car, straightened everything out, and the big Norwegian doing a great job behind the wheel once again. And he's coming here with high hopes to Holiest this weekend. Let's find out what they are right now.
I'm going very well now on the rain. The car is perfect now, and I'm back, and that's good. It's good for a feeling, and then you have more to believe, you know. So now with this car now, everything's not happening now.
Kenneth Hansen is back with the new car. What do you think of this car?
I like it. I have missed him already a lot, so because we have a lot of good fight together, and so I'm very happy to see him. Of course, we need to beat all the Swedish guy here in Sweden, so that is the goal for us this weekend.
I like that. Welcome back, but I want to beat you. Sverre Isaksson pulling no punches as well, and he doesn't do that with his driving either. As you can see, it's quite wet out here on the first day here in Holiest. Hoping the weather's going to stop, or the rain's going to stop, and it's going to dry out for everybody to get some good racing in this afternoon and the rest of the weekend as well. Well, one of Kenneth Hansen's 2 team drivers, Liam Duran, with a Monster Energy Drink Citroen C4. Had a bit of an up and down season so far, has Liam. Very easy to spot as well, as you can see, with all the Monster livery in the car. Looking very calm and collected as well, just soaring away at the wheel, changing gear and grabbing the handbrake to make the car slide round the corner. That's a great onboard shot, that really is, the young man from Great Britain. And we're going to find out from Liam just how 2011 has gone for him so far.
And we still have a long way to go. This is the 5th round of 10, so we have a lot of work to do, and everybody's so close. I think I was in 2nd position into the last round, and into this round I'm 6th position, so it's changing all the time, and I think for me to lead the championship now I only need like 4 points, so it's good for the competition, but I think some other guys had some good seasons so far, and I've had a bad season so far. So for me still to be within the chance, then I'm happy, because my aim is to have a good season from now on.
Well, that shows you just how tough Rallycross is. Only 4 points separating a very few drivers at the top. That's Liam with the Monster Energy C4. We'll be seeing him a little later on in the show as well, in the heats, and hopefully in some of the finals as well for the Supercars. Okay, we're on to the racing in wet weather conditions as well, pretty much for the first time all year. That's Andreas Bakkerud. These are the Super 1600s. He's right next to the camera. Next to him as well, Ulrich Linnemann. They pretty much crawl away from the line. Not a lot of grip for these cars. They are front-wheel drive 1600s only, obviously with no turbo and no four-wheel drive, which makes everything a little trickier in the wet. Number 14 right out front there at the moment, that's Daniel Houghton. And this circuit here at Holjes really is one of the jewels in European Rallycross's crown. It's a fantastic place, absolutely filled by tens of thousands of the most enthusiastic Rallycross supporters you'll find anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the world for that matter as well. And they come here for days even just to get ready for this race. So our third at the moment is David Johansson. That was him with the number 9 Citroen, being challenged at the moment by Andreas Bakkerud. And it looks like Andreas, yep, he does make his way through. Up one position. Andreas has been doing very, very well so far this year, and he is in the lead in the championship for the Super 1600s. That little Renault Clio has been doing great things all over Europe. He's won a couple of times, and he was also, when he's not won, he's been very consistent. He's been right up there with the leaders at every single race. And once again, just to explain quickly, the way that Rallycross works is they do a few regular laps, and then once, as you can see here, going completely sideways round the Joker lap. That's Daniel Houghton. That's an extra corner on the circuit. And there you go. Daniel Houghton takes his Joker lap right then. And as a result of that, Andreas Bakkerud has already taken his on the very first lap, and he rejoins the race out in front. Right behind him is Idar Rakhmatullin, the Russian guy, as well, doing very, very well in 2011. He did pretty good last year as well. Finished number 2 in the championship. Andreas Bakkerud finished number 3. But across the line, in the first heat for the Super 1600s, it will be Andreas Bakkerud taking first place, Rakhmatullin second, and David Johansson, the only one that finished out the rest of the bunch, in third place. Okay, more action coming your way from Holjes in Sweden, getting set and ready to go. That was from Belgium, Michael de Keersmaker. Right next to the camera, and next to him as well is Marc Leball from France. And leading the pack into the first corner, local driver Peter Hedström. And, oh, wow, Michael de Keersmaker gets a hefty whack from the local man. At the moment, out in front, 27, that's Guttorm Lindefield. We haven't seen him so far this year. He's from Norway. He was a bit of a regular last summer, but this is the first race that we've actually seen him on TV so far this year. So the man from Norway with the Skoda is out in front at the moment, but don't forget, he hasn't taken his Joker lap yet. Neither has Michael de Keersmaker, who is hot on his tail. Michael de Keersmaker goes round the inside. Guttorm Lindefield very gracefully slides the car sideways and slides it completely sideways off into the dirt. And that could well be the end of this heat for Guttorm Lindefield. Yep, the car going backwards, not the way you want to be. And that means Michael de Keersmaker is out front for the moment, and in second place, really not far behind him at all. There we go, Marc Leball, and that battle right down there at the end was between Thomas Anderson and Peter Hedström. Michael de Keersmaker, though, are about to be black flagged for that incident and for actually bumping off the Norwegian. So, even though he's out front for the moment, pay no attention, it's Marc Leball who's right behind him in the lead at the moment with the Citroen C4 all the way from France, with the engine mounted transversely in the car. There you go, there's the black flag for Michael de Keersmaker, just to confirm that. So he is actually out of this heat and does the gracious thing and pulls off out the way. This car as well from Marc Leball looks the same as all the other Citroens, but underneath it's completely different. The engine mounted transversely in the car, they think for better weight distribution, for better traction, lower centre of gravity, and who's to argue with them? They've had a great season so far. 2 team cars all the way from down there in France up here in Sweden. And at the moment, it is Marc Leball with quite some distance between him and the rest of the racers. Guttorm Lindefield's car stranded very precariously on that particular corner there. And if I was Guttorm, I'd be rather worried. A few €100,000 worth of supercar stranded in front of everybody going past at quite a rate of knots. So Mark LeBall really not far to go in this one, and he does take the checkered flag in front of Peter Hedstrom, and it was Thomas Anderson with that very unique BMW that finished in 3rd place. Right, we're going to hear from Michael de Keersmaeker after that incident.
The start was not so good, and I was number 5 in the start. Then the first 3 cars go in the Joker, and then I go after Mr. Lindefield. Yeah, we go in the velodrome, and Lindefield go a little bit outside, and I was inside, and we have small contact, and okay.
Yeah, well, from the look of it there, it was a bit of a racing accident, to be honest with you. They were both side by side with each other and slipping around on the slimy stuff in the rain as well. Obviously not helped either of them. So the next heat we have, looking very, very confident. That's Knut Ove Borseth from Norway. Liam Duran here in the Citroen C4. Andreas Eriksson. This is going to be one heck of a heat, to be honest with you. Rounding it out is going to be Frank Waller and Svein Roger Andersen as well, with that Volvo in the middle. And it is Knut Ove Borseth leads into the first corner, with Andreas Eriksson, the home guy, in 2nd place. And Liam Duran goes on his Joker lap earlier on in this heat than everybody else. And big surprise, Knut Ove Borseth, his 1st season and only 2nd race in this Ford Focus, leading some of the regulars on the European Tour. And one of those regulars is the man we're on board with right now, Andreas Eriksson with the Oldsbergs Fiesta. And you can see on that bank corner there, Knut Ove Borseth going very, very wide, but Andreas Eriksson still keeping with him. Some wild, wild driving from the Swede. Look at that, completely and utterly sideways out in the wet stuff on that particular corner. And the Race for Life Focus, that's Knut Ove Borseth's pet projects for this year, and doing very well he is so far. Svein Roger Andersen in 3rd place with that very rapid little Volvo. And on board again with Andreas. And this time round you can see out the corner of your eye there, Knut Ove Borseth gone on his Joker lap. Andreas Eriksson goes the regular way round. Just about everyone else is going to slip past him, except Liam Duran, who goes into, or stays into, 4th place. Now Liam has already been for his Joker lap. Like I said, it's the extra corner that they have to take somewhere within a 4-lap race. They can take it beginning, middle, end, wherever they like, but they do have to do it once. And Andreas Eriksson flying over the jumps here in Hollis. Again, one of really the jewels in the crown of the European Rallycross Tour. This track, it's right in the middle of Sweden as well, right out in the woods quite literally. And it looks like Svein Roger Andersen has actually got in front of Knut Ove Borseth. But what it looks like on the racetrack is not necessarily so, because he hasn't taken his Joker lap just yet. So the position on the racetrack is not necessarily indicative of the position they're going to finish in. And Knut Ove Borseth really, really pushing to get past that car in front of him as well. And he has done. He's gone past the Volvo, so he is back on the racetrack into 2nd place as well for Knut Ove Borseth. Great bit of driving for the Norwegian. And you'd never have thought, he only started driving this car just 1 race ago at his home race in Stordal in Norway. Well, at the moment on the track it is Andreas Eriksson still out there in front, but I'm guessing this time round he'll have to go the long way round while Knut Ove Borseth goes on his regular lap. There you go, that's what I was talking about with Svein Roger Andersen. Have to go the long way round, and you can see from that shot out the window there in the Oldsbergs car, Andreas Eriksson rejoins after the Joker lap in 2nd place behind the guy from Norway with the Race for Life Focus. He really is on his tail as well. Andreas Eriksson, by the looks of it, with definitely the faster car, but can't seem to get past the Norwegian at the moment. He's all over his tail, but it is Knut Ove Borseth that takes the heat win. That's an excellent result for him. I think in 2nd, just creeping in front of a hard-charging Liam Duran was Andreas Eriksson. Svein Roger Andersen got 4th, and Frank Waller drifted off back there in 5th place after that race. Well, Andreas Eriksson finished a battling 2nd place in that race. Let's hear from him right now.
The time practice on this race was extremely important, because if you have a good time, then you have a late heat and it dries up all the time. Every time a car goes on the track, it goes faster. So So that's how it is. So, but tomorrow is hopefully dry for everyone, and then it will be same condition for everyone.
Yeah, what he's talking about there is obviously the rain has stopped, the track is drying out, and as the heats come out, each set of cars that go around the racetrack, it is drying out more and more. So they're going faster and faster, and it's the time that matters to everybody out here. Right, the next seat, the first time we're going to see in action, the Citroen DS3 of a very happy-looking Kenneth Hansen. Tanner Faust from the USA, first time we see him today as well. They're right next to Stig-Olaf Wolfridsson and Frode Holter in the Volvo. On the outside, Morten Bermingrud with the green and white Citroen C4. But for the moment, Kenneth Hansen, dream start in his first heat with the Citroen. Frode Holter with the door open to let a passenger in, I can only presume at some point. Morten Bermingrud and Tanner Faust going on their joker lap right now. Third place, slotting in very, very nicely at the moment. Stig-Olaf Wolfridsson, he did very well last weekend in Stordal in Norway. Got to the A final, and his team car, the other Clio, driven by Mats Lysen, won the race. So they're doing excellent so far in Scandinavia this summer. But for the moment, it is, well, 3 Scandinavians in a row. Sweden, Norway and Sweden in exactly that order, with Hansen, Holter and Wolfridsson as they come into shot. Excellent bit of driving by Stig-Olaf Wolfridsson right up the inside of Frode Holter. Look at that onboard shot. He so nearly did it on that corner. Just coming around where the checkered flag was. And Frode Holter still driving around with the door open. And right at the back, would you believe, Tanner Faust. He's not far off the lead in the championship, but he's a long way off the lead in this heat. Just goes to show you how tough European Rallycross is. The man who's been doing so well this summer, being led by a driver that only makes a few of the races. That's Morten Bermingrud. Morten doing an excellent job here at his home track in Holness. Loses a bit of bodywork, or the bumper actually to be exact, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't tend to slow them down at all. They'll just go back, fit another one, or repair that one and put it back on the car and come out for the next heat. So for the minute, we're concentrating on this battle between Tanner Faust, and Tanner clips the corner just as he comes out. I think that's the slippery racetrack coming into play there. Kenneth Hansen is some way in the lead at the moment as well. Morten Bermingrud second, and Frode Holter, who's gone on his joker lap, rejoins the race in third place at the moment. Well, be interesting to find out what happened to Tanner Faust that time round, because that was most unexpected. And unintentionally there, you get a nice view of the inner workings of Kenneth Hansen's Citroen DS3. And we're on board with Kenneth as well. You can tell that's the leader because you can see out the windscreen everybody else having their windscreen filled in by all the mud and other parts and pieces on the racetrack here in Holness, getting, well, I was going to say getting in the way of everybody seeing. So this time round, Kenneth goes on his joker lap. Let's see if he can get all the way round and back out into the lead. I think he's got a substantial lead. No, indeed, it is Morten Bermingrud who just nips past. What a bit of driving. That was an excellent, excellent bit of driving from Morten Bermingrud, and Kenneth Hansen relegated to second place for the moment in this race. I was just saying how pleased he must be to have a clear windscreen. Well, he hasn't got one now, and he's also got Frode Holter from Norway absolutely on his tail at the moment. Morten Bermingrud still with a bumper missing. Kenneth Hansen and Frode Holter doing his absolute best to get up the inside of the DS3, but doesn't quite make it as they take the checkered flag in that heat. What a race. Morten Bermingrud first, Kenneth Hansen second, Frode Holter first, and trailing off at the back there, surprisingly, is Tanner Faust. OK, next group of Supercars to line up. Sverre Eriksson back on form. Finally, in 2011, I should think he says. That's Mats Lysen, winner from last weekend in Stordal, giving us the big thumbs up, hoping everything goes well this time round. And in the middle there, the Frenchman, Jean-Luc Pallier. But a rocket of a start that time for Sverre Eriksson from Norway. Mats Lysen slots into second place. Mats Lysen goes for his joker lap early on, and Jean-Luc Pallier slots in behind the big guy from Norway with the first stop Focus. And this is where we're used to seeing Sverre Eriksson. For a couple of races this summer, the team, not the team struggled, but just the mechanics of the car letting them down a few times. This is a lot more like it, everything working perfectly. And as I was saying at the time, I can't remember Sverre Eriksson hardly ever being headed last year. It was a real surprise when he wasn't, but it has happened over the last few races. Mechanical gremlins seem to be, for the moment, behind him. and he's leading this one in a walk, to be honest with you. Jean-Luc Pallier in second. Mats Lysen very close to him in third place, but don't forget, Mats Lysen has been on his Joker lap. Jean-Luc Pallier hasn't. And neither has Sverre Isaksson in the lead at the moment. You can clearly see as well, if you look at the racetrack, apart from that bit right there where the puddle is, but it's drying out more and more as more cars go over it. The drier it is, the faster they go. And if Sverre Isaksson keeps on this kind of pace, he could well have the fastest time in Heat 1 by far, and whoever gets over the line second as well is probably going to have the second quickest time too. So Jean-Luc Pallier still holding the Norwegian at bay at the moment, but once again, don't forget, he hasn't taken the long way around just yet. This time round, Jean-Luc Pallier turns right, Mats Lysen goes around the regular circuit, and Jean-Luc Pallier, after the left and the right, is going to come out some way behind the Clio of Mats Lysen from Norway. Well, Mats as well, probably feeling supremely confident here this weekend in Hollis after taking that event win at his home racetrack in Stordal in Norway, and doing real good. This time here in Sweden too, but the man doing just that little bit better, his fellow Norwegian, Sverre Isaksson, takes his Joker lap with a little nudge to the markers. I don't think Mats Lysen's close enough to take advantage of Sverre Isaksson going on his Joker lap right now. No, indeed he's not. Mats Lysen not far behind, but not quite there. And Sverre Isaksson, it was really nice to hear in his interview from Stordal last week saying, you know, Mats Lysen had the faster car, he did a really good job, and he was, I think, still happy to be in second place. Probably a bit happier because he lost to the Norwegian at the home race in Norway as well. So the big guy is going to be taking the checkered flag. There he goes over the line. Checkered flag and a checkered outfit as well for the man with the flag. Mats Lysen second, and Jean-Luc Pallier was third in that first heat. Well, skipping swiftly on to Sunday's action. That was Saturday. The weather on Sunday, that bit drier. So Tanner Faust back out there with the Rockstar car. Liam Duran, the Monster Energy Drink Citroen C4. Closest to the camera at the moment, points leader, Timo Timozhanov from Russia, would you believe, in Kenneth Hansen's other C4. But at the moment it is Liam Duran leads into the first Ben Faust. Frode Holter second, Timozhanov in third. Frode Holter turns right, and so does Tanner Faust. Well, that was just about as exciting as every usual first corner is in Rallycross. But at the moment it is Liam Duran leading his teammates. The man from Great Britain leading the man from Russia. And in third place, that's Renault Munich with the little Skoda. Like I said, in third place at the moment, but none of these guys have been on their Joker lap just yet. The way it normally works out in Rallycross is that whoever gets the best start stays out there to get as much of a lead and stay as far in front as they possibly can. They dive in, as you saw in the heat before, and take their Joker lap on the last lap. And by the looks of it, that's what Liam Duran and the few front runners up there are doing. Frode Holter with the bumper swinging off the back of the car, and Tanner Faust right behind him as well. Very, very close indeed. And they've already been on their Joker lap, so the idea as well, going on Joker lap early, you should have a clearer track in front of you, so you can do a bit of catch-up. And indeed, in the melee somewhere, Timo Timozhanov has dropped down a few positions. He was up there with Liam Duran. Not now, he's not. Tanner Faust still trying to get past Frode Holter. You just see him nudge him there. I can only think Frode might have some kind of problem because, well, he does seem to keep slowing down as well. So the leader is Liam Duran for the moment. Renault Munich, a great second place for him at the moment. But don't forget, he hasn't taken his Joker lap. Frode Holter is third. Tanner Faust right on, I was going to say his bumper, but what's left of his bumper in fourth place. And big shock of this heat, points leader coming into this event, Timo Timozhanov, is dead last. And as I said before, this just goes to show how unbelievably competitive European Rallycross is. It's about as hero to zero as you can possibly get, or the other way round as well. Not saying that anyone is a zero, it's just that tough that the lead changes hands so many times, and this season has been so competitive so far as well. We've already had a couple of different people leading the championship, and that's probably not going to change for the rest of the year. So Liam Duran still out there. Renault Munich takes the Joker lap. Can he get round in front of everybody? Definitely not. Frode Holter and Tanner Faust go way out in front of the German. And you can still see Liam Duran in front, Frode Holter in second, and Tanner Faust desperately, thought he was going to actually shunt him that time round. Frode Holter obviously had some kind of engine problem, and Tanner Faust goes absolutely zipping past. Great bit of driving from the American to notice him slowing down that quickly. Well, the story of this race as well, looks like Liam Durand took the win. Later on, it was determined that he didn't take a joker lap, so it will be Tanner Faust taking that heat win with Timo Janov in second place. Let's hear from Tanner right now.
What happened at the start? I was trying to get very minimal wheel spin, and I was too delicate on the clutch, I think, kind of like driving in the wet. And everybody left, so I chased Holter down, and he was having, I think, some engine problems or something, and I was sticking on him. He was going fast in some places, slow in other places, and then his engine finally gave out.
Well, a great jibing job for Tanner in that heat. Please join us after the break for more European Rallycross from Holjes in Sweden. Well, welcome back to Holjes in Sweden, one of the most beautiful parts of the world. We're lining up more supercars here for your viewing pleasure. That's Andreas Eriksson on his home track. We heard from him earlier on in the weekend. Mats Lysen, they're all very pleased today as well that the weather is dry at the moment. Down into the first bend, it is Andreas Eriksson out in front. Mats Lysen, no, gets up the inside of him, but then tips over the curb, goes wide on that bend and slots into, I was going to say third place, but not quite. That's Ludwig Hunsbedt there taking the joker lap, as well as Thomas Heikkinen in the very unique red and white Saab, and Morten Bermingrud as well in the Citroen C4. We saw Morten doing great things earlier on in Heat 1. Thomas Heikkinen at the moment dead last, but it is, as you can see out of the window of Thomas Heikkinen, Ludwig Hunsbedt with a new for him this summer Volvo. He used to drive the Focus last season. That brand new Volvo hasn't quite lived up to expectations so far this year. He's not done quite so well as he wanted to, is the, I think, the polite way of putting it. And Morten Bermingrud is just in front of him. And another Volvo with half the bodywork hanging off as well. Mats Lysen chasing and chasing. Still on a high, I should think, from that win after last weekend. Andreas Eriksson is still out there in front. And Ludwig Hunsbedt in third. We're still on board with Thomas Heikkinen pulling the levers, steering the wheel. He's got more than enough to do inside that Saab as well. This car owned and prepared by legendary Swedish rallycross racer Per Eklund. And the older Saab still really holding its own with all the modern rallycross supercars. Well, Andreas Eriksson too. He did mention in his interview earlier on in this show, which was actually on the Saturday of this event, that he was having a little trouble in the wet, and he's probably very, very glad indeed that it has actually dried out for him at his home race in Sweden. Mats Lysen not too far behind him, but far enough so that he can't actually challenge for the lead in this race so far. And the way it works as well, as we always explain, is there are 3 heats. Whoever has the quickest times from the 2 quickest heats that they race in determines the A, B and C final in each class. Obviously, these are the supercars, the mega up to 600 horsepower twin turbo 2-litre 4-wheel drive cars that really are so spectacular to watch and just provide such fantastic racing as well. So this time round it is Andreas Eriksson going on his joker lap, followed by Mats Lysen. Can anybody get up there to get past them? Oh, look at that. Ludwig Hunsbedt comes through and whacks into the back of Andreas Eriksson. I think that was definitely more of a racing accident. They both went for the same line, but it was Andreas just that little bit further in front. Thomas Heikkinen slots into third place, still trying to get in front of the Volvo right out of his front window. You can clearly see as well, due to the fact that it's not been raining today, everybody can see out the windows quite easily. Ludwig Hunsbedt peeling more and more of the bodywork away from his car. Andreas Eriksson takes first, Ludwig Hunsbedt second, and Mats Lysen nearly nips Thomas Heikkinen for third place, but not quite. It is Thomas in third, and Morten Bermingrud was fifth. Well, what a fantastic race. We're going to hear from the man with the Saab, prepared by Per Eklund. That's Thomas Heikkinen.
There was Hunsbedt, but I was a little bit stuck on behind him, but still we was 8 or 9 on the total, and we are right there still, but we have to fight on the last hit. I think cars were working quite well, and Per has made a really good job on this week, and hopefully we get the A final straight, and let's see.
Well, on board here with Thomas Heikkinen, what he's talking about there is hopefully getting to the A final. He did mention Per Eklund and the team doing a great job of preparing the car. And talking of preparing and repairing, I think Ludwig Hunsbedt's team have got a bit of work to do before they get ready for the next heat. So, lining up more supercars. These are the second heat. Sverre Isaksson getting set, ready to go. And away they do go indeed. It is Kenneth Hansen and Sverre Isaksson. Isn't it great to say those two names together going into the first bend? Right next to them in the focus is Andy Scott from Great Britain. Jean-Luc Pallier and Knut Ove Borseth bringing up the rear at the moment. Superb start from Sverre Isaksson, back where we're used to seeing the big guy from Norway being out there in front. I know I keep saying it again, but he was hardly ever headed last year. It was a big surprise earlier on the season when he just kept having problems, and we weren't even seeing him in A or B finals. He was down in the C final for one race. So he's putting a big gap between himself and Kenneth Hansen, but Kenneth still having a great weekend with that new Citroen DS3. Citroen obviously choosing wisely the man to develop their new DS3 for rallycross competition. And Kenneth Hansen having a long history of racing Citroens as well, incredibly successful. And coming into this weekend, his team car, that was Timo Timojanov, was, or is, I should say, still in the points lead in the supercar class. So it's Sverre, followed by Kenneth Hansen. And it was nice to hear Sverre earlier on say that he was very happy. And he did actually miss, isn't that lovely to hear? He did actually miss racing against Kenneth Hansen because he had a lot of good fights with him over the years. And Citroen and Ford battles raged throughout Europe all the way up to the end of last year as well, when Kenneth Hansen decided to hang it up for half a season to become a team owner, or just a team owner for Timojanov and Liam Duran. But this new Citroen DS3 doing great things so far this weekend in Holius. A really, really smart looking car and a great addition to the 2011 Tour. Sverre Isaksson as well, definitely back on form, driving very well indeed, very precisely, and the car very fast too. That's the view we're used to seeing. Nobody out in front of the first stop focus, and nobody in front of Sverre Isaksson either. You can see him changing gear, there he goes, changing up the gears as the car gets faster. The other handle on the right-hand side is a handbrake to get the car sliding round the corners. That's Jean-Luc Pallier and Knut Ove Borseth a bit further down the order, battling for position at the moment. And it is Jean-Luc from France with the slight advantage on the Norwegian, but it is only very slight. And as we know in rallycross, anything can change in absolutely no time at all. So Sverre Isaksson takes his joker lap. Let's see if he can still get in front of the following pack, and by some considerable margin, Sverre Isaksson is in the lead in this heat. He did have the quickest lap in the first heat. There's a very good chance he could well be doing exactly the same thing here. So he's going to be fairly near the front if he keeps going like this of the A final later on in today's event. Great view of this Holius circuit as well. From inside the car, you can see all the people packing around the circuit in the grandstands. They actually turn up here like up to a week before and stay in the area and just make a real big party and festival of this event. But the man having the party after that race, Sverre Isaksson, Kenneth Hansen in second, Andy Scott third, Jean-Luc Pallier fourth, and Knut Ove Borseth was fifth. Okay, this is Sverre, still with a bandaged hand, looking very good so far this weekend.
Now we have pole position, so car is back now. It's fun to drive. I love it. Standing in the front in A is perfect, and now the second race was very good. Kenneth was in my heat, and it was good.
Well, it was good, but I think it was even better to beat Kenneth Hansen, to be honest with you. It's great to see Sverre sounding confident, sounding like he's having fun again. He really didn't have that much of a great time down there in France earlier this year, and a couple of other places as well. So, more Heat 3 action this time. This is the last heat. They've got to set the time before the finals. Closest to the camera, Timojanov, then Andy Scott again. And right in the middle there, Tanner Faust, Thomas Heikkinen, and closest to the camera, getting to the first bend first once again from Norway. That's Mats Lysen with a nice dent in the door to show for his troubles as well. Timojanov goes straight round behind him, and Timojanov actually loses it on that bend, unfortunately for the man from Russia. So Thomas Heikkinen in front of Tanner Faust too. Tanner's been rather quiet today by his own high standards. He won his first event ever in European Rallycross down in Portugal at Montalegre earlier on this year, and had quite a big shunt as well. at the last round in Norway. They got the car back together, and Andreas Eriksson's team did as well. But look at that driving job from Tanner Faust. Takes Thomas Heikkinen. It's not often you see somebody take a Finnish racing driver anywhere on a racetrack, but a great job that time round for the American. It's the day before Independence Day, and he'd love to do nothing but celebrate by taking, I was going to say a heat win, but an event win would be even better for Tanner Faust in the Rockstar Fiesta. Both him and Andreas Eriksson so far having a good weekend here in Hollis, and if they keep this up, they could well both be in the A final later on today. But it is Mats Lysen still leading with smoke trailing from the Clio. That looks like problems for Mats, but he's still going. But anytime you see a wisp of white smoke or anything out like that, you're used to seeing mud and things coming off the back of the car, but not white smoke. So Tanner Faust has caught Mats Lysen, to be honest with you, by the looks of it, that little bit too easily. And Mats really does have a hard job keeping the American at bay, and Tanner Faust just literally, as easily as you can do in rallycross, drives around the outside of him with a couple of bumps as well. And now Mats Lysen's got Thomas Heikkinen in his rear view mirror. We're on board now with Mats, and he's doing a great job trying to hold everybody off, but I can only think that that little Clio is hurting at the moment. Well, no, he is still keeping Thomas Heikkinen at bay, so whatever that problem was, you never know. It was probably Tanner just doing a great job of driving and getting around the racetrack quicker than everybody else. And here he goes. He's only got one more lap to go. Mats Lysen second, Thomas Heikkinen in third. And that's the great thing about European Rallycross. America first, Norway second, Finland in third place. But Norway will not be in second place in just a minute, because Mats Lysen has to go on his joker lap now. That allows Thomas Heikkinen to slide very neatly through. It's amazing as well how the Saab almost manages to survive every single race virtually unscratched. I'm not entirely sure whether that's credit to Thomas's driving or the build quality of the Saab. He doesn't seem to have as much stuff flailing around as most of the other drivers do. But it is Tanner Faust, not got far to go now before he does claim this heat win, and a very fast heat win. If he keeps going like this, it's going to be. There you go, checkered flag for the American. Great job by the whole MSC team and Rockstar as well. Tanner Faust first, Thomas Heikkinen second, Mats Lysen third, and trailing off at the back, sadly, we didn't see him for much of the rest of that race, was Andy Scott. And Tanner, busy signing autographs to the fans here in Sweden. Let's hear from him right now.
Yeah, there was a good heat. There was the last qualifying heat. There were a lot of people that were kind of on the bubble of making it to the A main, so I think it was a time to push, and I had a bad start.
Well, even though he had a bad start, he still did a great job of driving, getting around everybody, and it looks like at the moment Tanner could well be set for another A final in European Rallycross this year. Okay, we go through. We're going to show you now the A finals in all the other classes. These are the touring cars. That's Lars Ovind Enneberg from Norway. Roman Casteril lining up there with his Opel. This man is Ole Habbjorg with a very, very unique BMW, looking confident as well. And a big surprise of this race was no Derek Tohill, the defending European champion for the touring cars, did not make it through to the A final. But leading round the first couple of bends, it is the man on top of the points chase at the moment, Lars Ovind Enneberg. Great scrap there between Anton Macklund and Roman Casteril. And it's Anton Macklund actually getting the better end of the stick that time round on the joker lap. Lars Ovind Enneberg out there in front, leading, but only just from Ole Habbjorg with that incredibly unique and very rapid BMW. Just to explain about the classes as well, supercars we've been seeing most of so far, they really are the supercars of Rallycross. They are twin turbo, 2 litre and 4-wheel drive. These are the touring cars, which are 2 litre non-turbocharged and rear wheel drive, which probably makes them great fun to drive. Not quite as much horsepower, but still provide very close and exciting racing. So the Norwegian is out in front at the moment with the little Ford, and by quite some margin as well. Does seem to be putting some big distance between himself and the rest of the field. Not gone on his joker lap yet. A few of the others have, but I don't think that's actually making it look any worse than it is. Lars Ovind Enneberg has been nothing but good so far this summer in 2011. Yeah, nearly half a corner in front of everybody else, which in Rallycross is almost night and day. You only have 4, or in the finals 5 laps to actually put some distance between you and the rest of the field. So half a corner in the first couple is quite a big distance. And he does indeed take the win. That's Lars Ovind Enneberg. Congratulations to the Norwegian. And confirmation of that, Ole Habberg was second, Macklin third, Carlson fourth, and Roman Castrol with the Opel Astra was in fifth place. So let's hear from the man taking the win and doing donuts for the pleasure of the crowds, Lars Ovind from Norway.
I take the start and I felt that I had all under control every race, and so guys at my team is very perfect to set up the car, and yeah, I only drive this car, so.
Well, he did a great job of only driving. I love the way he simplifies that. Lars Ovind Enneberg still has to steer the car around the racetrack and get out in front of everybody else. This is the final for the Super 1600s. Front-wheel drive 1600s, no turbos. Makes for very, very close, exciting racing. We did see them in action earlier. That is Andreas Bakkerud looking incredibly confident. I think that's confidence, I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, but he's on the back of the grid, surprisingly, for the championship leader. But out in front at the moment, that's Krzysztof Skorupski from Poland with the little VW. Slotting into second place is Clement Mayer with the Skoda. And big surprise not to see Andreas Bakkerud up the order a little bit further. I think this may be due to some car problems earlier on in the weekend, but big surprise from Poland, Krzysztof Skorupski in front by a bit of a margin. You can say that in rallycross because it's only after half a lap. Second place is Clement Mayer. Down in the order, David Johansson and Ulrik Linnemann as well. And that is David Johansson following very, very closely behind those two there with the Citroen. The leader of that group, that's Andreas Bakkerud, being shoved round the corner by Ulrik Linnemann from Denmark. Oh, and the reason he's being shoved round the corner, look at that. Pulling off and spinning to a stop. Championship leader Andreas Bakkerud has an unfortunate end to his day here in Lysen, Sweden. He's out of the race. So the number 46 still in the leads, Krzysztof Skorupski, by again quite some margin. Not far behind him. Oh, whacking the inside of the barrier. That had to hurt. That was Clement Mayer. But they've both been on their joker laps now, and no one has come past them. So it looks like if the order stays like this, it could be his first win for the man from Poland. What an excellent bit of driving, especially with the Tour regulars right on his tail for the whole 5 laps here at the final in Holies in the Super 1600s. And it is going to be the man from Poland, Krzysztof Skorupski, takes the win. Second place was Clement Mayer. Ulrik Linnemann third. Larsen in fourth, and David Johansson bringing up the rear. Let's hear from the winner now from Poland. What a race.
It was a fantastic race, fantastic weekend. I can't believe it in it. I think that's a dream. Somebody has to tell me it's not. Everybody helped me so much. My team, Blue Engineering, and all the on the sponsors.
Suddenly I get some engine problem, and the engine goes through a modus, and I didn't got every horsepower that I needed to have. And in the same problem, my throttle was in the floor all the time.
Yeah, that's a big problem if the throttle gets stuck down, to be honest with you. But on the top of the podium, a very happy Polish man, Krzysztof Skorupski. OK, it's time for the big one, the final hole, yes, for the Supercars. On pole, back where he belongs, I'm sure we'd say, Sverre Isaksson next to the rockstar Ford of Tanner Faust. Andreas Eriksson, his team car right behind both of them. Thomas Heikkinen, Ludwig Hunsbedt, and bringing up the rear at the moment is Kenneth Hansen. He made the A final. Great news for him, but it is Sverre Isaksson going around first. Andreas Eriksson goes completely sideways into the joker lap. Great bit of driving just to hang on to the car, to be honest with you. First, Isaksson, second, Faust, third, Thomas Heikkinen. Well, that's a shock if nothing else. Thomas Heikkinen doing very, very well in this final so far. Tanner Faust with a bit of bodywork trailing. He is doing his very best now to try and catch up with... Oh, my goodness, we're on board with Andreas Eriksson. He tips over and over and over. Wow, that's a massive accident from the Swedish guy. He appears to be completely okay. He's still moving in the car. And let's just say this way, folks, that is not the shape that a Fiesta came out of the factory. Very bumped and dented. And a very hot and frustrated looking Andreas Eriksson steps out of the car. Look at that. over and over that Fiesta goes. He's absolutely okay. We're going to hear from him right now.
I have Ludwig in my ass all the time, and when I go into the corner, suddenly the car slides, I get a hit or something, and then I go on the curbs, and I tried to steer it back, and I couldn't. So...
Well, another slow motion replay. That must be a horrible feeling with the car going over, but then just loads of mud, stuff flying around all over the place. And testament to the safety of these rallycross cars. Andreas Eriksson just unbuckles and walks away. We're going to have to restart the A final. This is the restart. Okay, second bite of the cherry. Tanner Faust still can't get the drop on Sverre Isaksson. And Thomas Heikkinen, I don't know whether Thomas missed the start, missed a gear, or he had car problems. But anyway, for the moment, it is in front. Sverre Isaksson very closely followed by Kenneth Hansen. Tanner Faust decides to take his joker lap early on in this A final. And once again, for the goodness knows how many times in rallycross this summer, I've nearly lost my voice commentating on these supercars. They are just fabulous. If we had the same amount of overtaking in Formula One, it would just be fantastic. They really are such good value for money, such good racing. Tight, competitive, fast, and the drivers just fight tooth and nail every corner of every lap. As you can see by bits and pieces hanging off a Tanner Faust car, it's up to him to now uphold Andreas Eriksson's team honour, if you will. He's the only car from the MSC Motorsport stable in the final, by virtue of the fact his boss's car just got pushed off the racetrack looking slightly more egg-shaped than when it started the day. But if anyone can do it, Tanner can, with the Rockstar Ford, doing his level best to try and catch Sverre Isaksson out there in front. But Sverre Isaksson, talk about a proper return to form. This is the Sverre Isaksson of old. We're used to seeing him out there in front, but it looks like he has the tyre actually rolls off the left rear. He's got a puncture on the back of the car, so he's in quite a big lead at the moment, but that's going to start being diminished if that slows him down. You can clearly see, look, he's still going, not slowing down at all. The only reason I can think that the car's still going is the four-wheel drive on these cars is doing its job and keeping everything in order. But Tanner Faust, who has already taken his joker lap, goes through, takes the lead in this A final rerun. Nearly bins it into the barrier, to be honest with you, coming out of that corner, but he got away with it. It is Tanner Faust in the lead, second place at the moment. Sverre Isaksson, third place, first race with the brand new Citroen. That's Kenneth Hansen, and Sverre said that he missed the battles he had with Kenneth Hansen. Well, he's about to have one again right now. The Swede really wants that second place in front of the Norwegian. And what's quite amazing about this so far, and what's really cool to watch, is that Kenneth Hansen can't get past Sverre Isaksson, even though Sverre's only effectively got 3 wheels at the moment. He's bumping and banging, and they're all over the place once again. Kenneth Hansen goes around the outside, tries to cut back round the inside. Can't quite do it. A 3-wheeled Sverre Isaksson is still enough to hold off Kenneth Hansen with the new DS3 at the moment. Well, we'll see how long that can last. They're going at it absolutely hammer and tong around the whole of the circuit. Sverre Isaksson has one more lap to try and hold on to second place. Way off in the distance out in front is Tanner Faust. If everything stays the same, he's going to be taking his second ever European Rallycross win this summer. But for now, we're focusing on this battle for second place. Not far behind is Thomas Heikkinen. Thomas done a great job after completely missing the start to come back on terms with the leading bunch. Yep, he's really not that far away at all. How on earth that car is still going as Sverre Isaksson, nobody knows. But the big tough guy from Norway has got the bit between his teeth to try and keep Kenneth Hansen at bay. Tanner Faust goes over the jump. One last time, comes round and takes the checkered flag and the fireworks as well. Let's see how the battle for second shakes out. We're going to go to that right now. Andreas Eriksson is very, very excited indeed. He's cheering. And on the last lap, oh, Sverre Isaksson gets whacked from behind by Kenneth Hansen, and Thomas Heikkinen goes past as well. Sverre Isaksson's car has died on the last corner. Can you believe it? After battling it out for so many laps on only 3 wheels, Sverre Isaksson's car quits on the last lap. That is one very hot and bothered looking Norwegian. Here's Sverre.
I had the throttle in the bottom and tried to keep Kenneth behind. I was of course happy with second place, and I saw the finish line, but 20 meters before the finish line the car only died. he stopped like doing in Finland. I don't know why, but I get the warning and flashing red in my dash.
Well, what a great shave. Tanner Faust does take the win. Kenneth Hansen second. Thomas Heikkinen with a great third place. And Paul Sverre ended up being fourth. Well, donuts for the delight of the crowd, and it is going to be Tanner Faust celebrates the eve of American Independence Day by winning again in Europe.
Really, really awesome. You know, this is kind of the biggest rallycross in Europe, and the crowd is crazy here. So in the third heat, really had to push hard, and then in the final, it was too bad about Andreas rolling. I saw that Eriksson had a little bit of a problem at the end of the final, and then he got a puncture in the second start. But so, you know, there was a lot of carnage there, but I think that's rallycross. I'm really excited, and so I don't know what that does to the championship, but I'm stoked.
Well, we can tell you what it does for the championship. Tanner Faust takes the points lead from 2 points over Sverre Eriksson. Would you believe there's an American on top of the pile here in Europe so far in 2011? As we show the replay of some of the more spectacular stuff over this weekend, poor Sverre Eriksson didn't get the win, but he did get back up to second place. Please join us again for the second half of the season, starting in a few weeks' time in Belgium. We'll see you then, and hope you had a great time watching this.